Folks, I'm going to tell you 5 quick facts about black bull markets. Now, did you know, number 1, they're New Zealand FMA regulated? Number 2, did you know they have a copy trading service where you can either be a signal provider or copy signals? And number 3, did you know they've got over 26,000 tradable assets, including Forex, crypto, stocks, indices, and even more? And number 4, did you know they offer 500 to 1 leverage? And number 5, if you open up an account today and trade 1 lot a month, they're going to give you TradingView Pro for free. Check them out, Black Bull Markets.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you're in the world. I'm just checking my sound quickly, making sure that it's there. Should be popping up soon.
Good morning, good
There we
morning,
go.
good morning.
Good. All right, fantastic. How's it all going? We had a very interesting day yesterday. So hopefully you all kept safe throughout your trading journey in throughout the London session and the New York session. And what's funny is that everything played out exactly as we said it would here from the morning. So I'll just review the charts and I'll show you what my thought was and how it played out. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go on to our where is it? Our dashboard for our Blue Guardian challenge. All right, right now we're sitting obviously on wins from yesterday, which is great. So let me actually just make this like this so you can see clearer. We're sitting on 0.471%, which is great. So 0.5 almost, which is good for a week. I mean, putting in 0.5% in the week, fantastic, especially using a low risk model like what we're doing right now. What we have right now is we've taken 8 trades. We have a win rate of 75, profit factor of 6.6, an average RR of 2.2, and our expectancy and all that, average losing, average winning trades, and so on and so forth. And just make sure my Guardian Protector is turned on. Yeah, it's turned on to the amount that I want. Great stuff. Let me just turn it off and turn it on again. All right, really good. Now that's on, fantastic. We can go back to our dashboard. And that's it for the Blue Guardian. Hello, Sir AJ. Did you see everything play out in the charts like I kind of mentioned? It's quite funny. It plays out every single day the same way. The same way. So let me actually just whip out the... this one. Okay, so I'll just remove that. I was just giving the charts a little quick sneak peek. So we have, if you were trading US 500, obviously we are, what you're looking at is that 4 o'clock candle, which is over here. It's 4 o'clock. Okay, so wherever that one closed, you are putting your line at. If you're doing this, then we have our open at 9:30, which is down here. Okay, right there. So the open is that candle right there. And that would have been your gap. Okay, this whole area here, that would have been your gap in price. So let me just make that black. So it's nice and clear. Ignore all price that's within that. You're only looking at that time and that time, as I explained the other day. And as soon as price opens over here, what needs to happen? Price needs to come in and fill the gap. And it does so. Funny. Every single day, it's the same thing. Price comes in, fills the gap immediately. It does create a whole bunch of stuff over here. You could have taken a trade there on the shift of that market structure to go down into the 50% of this leg over here, which was not, 50% of this leg over here, this, you can see that leg was not seen to, it was not given fair value. And then it was given a fair value, and you could have taken that trade and rode it all the way up to the moon. Very, very clear, very concise, very simple. Let's go on to our DXY chart. So as you can see, what price did was these equal highs over here, price from down there, as we indicated yesterday. You see that equal low, these equal lows over here. They were targeted, and then price flipped, came back in, filled the rest of that gap in, targeted those equal highs into the previous days, the previous week's Hong Kong gap, came down, and then continued going up, and now we're residing within the weekly open for this week. So price is flat for the week almost. Okay, that correlating onto obviously I've set my daily open, I've set my 259 Hong Kong close. Euro. Hello, Matt Salazar. Welcome. Thumbs up. Thank you so much for coming in. Euro as predicted. Okay, even though our trade only went to here yesterday, if you held that or took a re-entry, you could have taken that, and that you could have ridden that all the way down to, what's that round number on the side? It's a round number, 0.800, just like I said. It goes to the round number. That could have been a good 10-hour trade, but I'm not in this for 10 hours. I'm only in this for 4 hours. So I'm chilled. Okay. As soon as it takes this liquidity over here, which is that low over there, it bounces. And what just happened? No, I don't want that. There we go. It goes up through to fill in this Hong Kong gap, reaches the top. And this point over here, this is very interesting, because what time is that? 3 o'clock. So if you're trading London, you knew that there was a buy because it had to come back to the opening gap and fill in the Hong Kong gap for the day. Okay, so then it takes a buy, it goes up here, and then it goes from Hong Kong gap all the way down to this section over here, which is a previous Hong Kong gap. Okay, you can see there, the top of that channel. If I just drew this out in time, it comes straight into that Hong Kong gap down there. So as you can see over here, price comes up, Hong Kong gap, comes back into today's Hong Kong gap, goes down to the next Hong Kong gap. Funny, not predicted at all. Okay, I was expecting lower prices. As I mentioned, this leg over here needed to be rebalanced. That Hong Kong gap needed to be seen to, which it was. And today I'm expecting this leg to have balance. Okay. Hello, C Kenny. Hong Kong gap is something that I've come up with. It's basically the closing and opening of the Hong Kong market. Okay, so that's 259 and so 259 close and the 915 close. So that is the 916 open in time. Okay, so very easy. Now we're sitting within our daily open right over here. Our beginning of our Hong Kong gap is started for the day. 915, 916. It's going to come in. We still got some time before that. It's gone to our GBP. Now this is actually a call that I sent my friend on Twitter, and one of the trades that we took yesterday, we were within this price range here, and obviously it declined, went down to the 1230. So again, 1230s are quite important for London. Okay, the 1230 in price. As price comes down to that, okay, which oddly enough is at the round number of 500 over here. You see 27,500. That's a round number. 200 is the one underneath it, which is another round number. So it goes from the 800, which is where we were over here, from the 800 all the way down to the 500, and then all the way back up to, guess what? Round number 8,000. Pumped up. Oh, this was what I was telling everyone about yesterday. According to the Bank of England, their interest rates. Now they had to catch up to euro. So we had all this movement. Anyways, let's just continue with the analysis of the trade. So what happened was at 3 o'clock, on the dot, there was indication that there's a breaker structure. It goes higher. What does it leave behind? It leaves behind a beautiful fair value gap in price. And that could have been a beautiful long trade during London to target the opening gap, which would have given you a clean 4R, or you could have gone even further to those equal highs, or you could have gone above those highs over there for liquidity. And you could have ridden that out for, again, another 10-hour trade. During the Bank of England released their news, and that's why it went up like this. Funnily enough, it needed to, remember at the beginning of the week, I said that public holiday over there, they've left liquidity behind. They need to catch that liquidity. They've been inching over here on all this downside, and they have not seen that buy side liquidity. If you drag that daily candle out in time, where did we go to? Both sides of the market need to be offered after a public holiday. Okay, and during the news, that was offered. Now that not necessarily is that's a trade I would not have taken part in because it doesn't coincide with my rules of time. Okay. See Kenny, thanks. What time is the Hong Kong Open in New York? These times I have right here are the New York times. I have my charts set to New York in time. Okay, so as we can see, it comes up, it goes down at this time, okay, 9:50 to 10:10. What we need to see is we need to see balance, and it starts coming up. New York has not offered settlement on GBP. So my bias is that it needs settlement of the previous day's price. It might come up and then come down on GBP. AUD, we go look at the same thing. So from the Hong Kong gap that was set over here, okay, and the daily open over there, price came down through to this Hong Kong gap, went up, settled above here, came back down again, same thing. Both London and New York have not offered settlement at yesterday's opening price. So this is a later on, this is a valid target for later on. All of this, the daily open here, and that Hong Kong gap there on the buy side, that's valid. So I'm just dragging that out in time so that it stays there. Okay. Now we have obviously today setting up our new Hong Kong gap, our new daily open. Today's daily open is from 5:21 until 7:45. Correlate that onto the DXY. You can see it's not the same time every day. Most days it's 6:04 to 7:45, but today, because they're being unique about it, it's a Friday, they've decided that this candle over here, if you look at price at the bottom, time at the bottom, the time there, closing of that candle is 5:21. The opening is 7:45. That is your opening gap range. Okay. Yes, on the other charts, price traded. You can see there that price is traded through that time and done whatever it's going to do. But I ignore that price. Okay. Until 7:45. From 7:45, you're going to have, so now we're going to add in our, because we've got 6 minutes before we start hunting. 6:30 until 7:30 highs and lows. So it's 5:30. We have 6:30 low down here. And we have 7:30 highs over here. Okay, that was your 7:30 highs. Now, what did price do? Closed at 7:45, above those highs. It came in, and of course, it now needs to seek sell side. It's now just taken sell side, and we'll see what price wants to do in a couple of minutes. Again, my bias, because of what I see on GU and because of what I see on AU, I'm actually thinking it's long. Now, DXY has come in and filled in this gap a few times. Okay. So it's not necessarily, I don't know if I see a trade panning out today, but ultimately, throughout the day, whether it's now or whether it's in London or whether it's in New York, price will need to break away from the Hong Kong and the daily gap, and then seek an alternative price and then come wherever it's going to go. Now, if we pull this onto the DXY onto a 15-minute chart, you can see very, very clearly, that this leg from here all the way up to here, which is here, okay, that 50% has not been seen to today. As fair value has not been offered. Fair value needs to be offered on this leg, and it hasn't. We have this leg from down here to up here. Fair value has been offered. You can see that very, very clearly. That candle came in, offered fair value. We then come up from this leg over here all the way to the top of that leg over there. 50% fair value was offered. Now we have today's price action, where we might have it coming up and coming down into that fair value to continue, or it goes down into that fair value and then continues. Because again, ultimately at the beginning of the week, I did mention that I was short for the week. I'm expecting lower prices, even though if we look at the candle, right? If we look at the candles and I go into a daily, we go into the daily. Okay. These are our daily candles right now. We had that massive, and we're busy offering fair value. Just like I said yesterday, we go into the 1 week. Okay. You can see that this has gone all the way up. We've been offered fair value here on the buy side. So that's come in and filled all of this fair value gap in price. And we have a lot of price on the sell side. So as soon as this week closes, we then have created now, I know there's a lot of lines and stuff in the chart. That's why I don't bring up my weekly often. But you have the high of this candle right over here and the low of that candle over there, whatever closes at this week, that will be your new fair value gap for the week. If it decides today that it's going to come all the way down and fill that in, fantastic. Because as you can see with price, it's very, very easy. Price goes up, it comes down. Next one opens with a big gap. It goes down, comes up, closes. Next one opens with another gap. We go up, we come down. So it's always offering fair value on both sides of the market to participants. Over here, there was a fair value gap, which was not filled in. That's why when it started coming up over here, when we had this little change, this fractal coming in, we had that offering. And then last week, and then this week, we have filled it in a little bit on the buy side that was unfilled. And then now I'm expecting further sell side. And as you can see, sell side was taken, and then all of a sudden we start getting a shift. Funny how price works. And now we wait. And I'm going to turn some music for you. Here we go. Beautiful. Oh wait, does it make the sound? Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. Javier, no worries. It's a pleasure. Because today is Friday. Okay, now this is something that not a lot of people know. Okay, this is the MMG value. Now the reason why I'm looking for sells is because if we go into our 1 minute chart, okay, and we go back in the week, let's go to Wednesday at a specific time. Okay, what is the time I'm looking for on Wednesday? I'm looking between 429 over here. Okay, that candle there, the closing of that candle, 429, and the opening of 515. 20, 18, 17, 15 open. This is what I deem the MMG, which is a mid-morning gap. I call it the mid-morning because it's at a strange time. Now, what normally happens over here is that there's some kind of consolidation. As you can see, there was consolidation. You drag that out in price. That is my target for either today or for Monday. All right, that's literally it. And you can correlate that with a lot of Wednesdays. That's why I have down here, all the way down here, I have that price over there. I'm actually expecting price either today or Monday to come down to here, which is 18,000. Okay, it might happen over the next week. It might come down here, but then throughout the next week, because I use the MMG, not the week that I'm in, but for the following week. So this MMG will be for next week. That will be next week's targets and like balance price. Okay, it's the middle of the week. It is yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, you can see the stuff panning out over and over and over again. We have Wednesday at that specific time. It goes all the way up over here, Thursday, Friday, and then guess what happens on Friday? We start setting off towards that. As soon as it touches that midweek, so MMG, and then you can see I took a trade there, but it then starts going towards the next thing. As that happens, we are now within our next Wednesday, okay, which is over here. This is our next Wednesday mid-morning gap right there. This one is unfilled, and that is it's interesting. That's why I'm expecting price to go down, because this has not been offered fair value. If I put a big line like this, let's just say in the middle of that price over there, I make it 4 pixels and I go out onto the 1 hour chart, what you'll see is that there is an absolute beautiful little fair value gap just underneath there. Okay, if we go out onto the daily, okay, let me just turn this off. Okay, we go into the daily. That is at the bottom, funny enough. At the top here, this has been seen to. This mid-morning gap has been seen to. This one over here was just came to perfectly. This one over here went away, came towards it, and then went away. Created the new one, went away, went towards it. Created the new one, went towards that one, went away. It has not filled in this one yet, or this one over here. So price needs to come down to balance all this out. Okay. So everyone who's raging about longs and stuff like that, I don't know what Big Daddy P said yesterday, and if you were trading in the if you were trading that session, you had massive balls, all right? Because the US 500 or in any chart around that time when he started talking, which was at 9:30 over here, he started talking. Things can happen. Okay, you can see it reflected over here. Okay, you can see it reflected over here. 9:30, he started talking. What happened? There's a lot of like choppy. A lot of people saw equal lows, and they're like, oh no, it's going to go for the equal lows. They wouldn't have taken the trade long. But that's because they don't know that they're of that massive gap that still needed to be filled. So that gap was filled and then went higher. We have fair value gaps within this. So if you go into your 15 minutes, very, very simple. Go into your 15-minute chart. Okay, you can see very clearly what is being created over here. Well, you have a fair value gap over here. You have a volume imbalance over here. And so you could have taken a trade anywhere from that level and been targeting the buy side. Oh yeah, no worries at all. No worries at all. It's just all the stuff that I've learned over my time trading and looking at price and seeing, oh, I haven't turned my light on. I need to turn my light on. Yeah, the mid-morning gap is new. So is the Hong Kong gap. It's nothing that you'll have heard from anybody because I'm the one that made it. All right, I'm the one. I didn't make it. I identified it. All right. identified these things, and they are what gives me my bias. That's how I look at price and where I determine my weekly levels are going to be. So 630 lows over here have not been taken. $730 here, $730 buy side has been taken. All right, so with that time in mind, okay, the buy side has been taken. It's come up, it's created that wick on the hour, it's created that little wick over there, it's created a buy side, and right now we're seeing the middle of the candle. What I mean by that is that you look at the hour candle, okay, it's come up, it's created that part of the wick, it's created a wick on the buy side and the downside, and we're sitting within the middle of that candle right now. See, Kenny, I'm on Tuesday to Friday on this channel. We're actually doing my 100k Blue Guardian challenge. And every single day, I come on and give the same information. Because not a lot of people know that Asia sets up the day. Can you explain why GJ? I don't know anything to do with the Japanese. I don't trade the Japanese yen. I only trade pairs that are crossed with the US dollar because their manipulation is predictable. With the Japanese, I don't trade anything with the Japanese yen because it's just, I don't know. There's things within that chart and that price. I don't even want to get involved. If you found something that is profitable during that time, good, great stuff. But for me, that's not it. Again, whenever I see wicks like this, wicks like that are targets. Okay, just like yesterday. So AUD, you saw exactly what happened in yesterday's stream. We had this target over here. We had that little fair value gap over there. Let me just label that clearly so everyone can see it. That little clear fair value gap. If you entered it, we were targeting the bottom of that wick over there. And guess what happened? Price dropped like a rock and went straight to that. Balanced it out. Guess what happened in London? London came up and went back to try and offer settlement. So Blue Guardian, no, it's a Blue Guardian. It's a Blue Guardian. A Blue Guardian is a prop firm, okay, and they have a nice infinite challenge where you don't. There's no time limit on your challenge at all, and it's actually cheaper than the standard version by like $30 or something. So you're able to get in there and take your time, risk less lots. You don't have to be a maniac and be going 1% or 2% or 3% or trying to like pass the challenge as fast as possible. You can take your time. You can do your analysis and make sure. Last week, I almost had no trades. I actually had 0 trades last week. So yeah, that's just how it is. Some weeks you get trades and some weeks you don't. Just because when things don't fit my criteria, which is like right now, what I'm looking for, this is not enough. I'm looking for between 850 and 910. Okay, I'm looking for one of these liquidity points. This was taken, but as you can see with the candles over here, we have not created a fair value gap of any kind to give me indication that it's going to drop or go higher. There's a fair value gap over here, but that was indicated before my time. So again, my rules are very, very clear, and I have to make sure that I have a clear target and a clear bias in mind first before I trade. Otherwise, I don't trade. How long did I study ICT before I started seeing profitability? It's funny, and I've mentioned this before, that I got started in trading with ICT's concepts. I've never read one book on trading psychology. I've never read one book on how to trade, like none of that. The only knowledge that I have comes directly from like ICT, because he was my introduction to trading, basically. So I find that interesting. A lot of people, it's like the other way around. They come from books, they come from the retail logic. I come from the opposite. I come from learning from him and just soaking in his videos. What I did after a time is, because I would get very frustrated with myself. I'd be like, I don't know, I can't understand what he's saying. So I would go in the charts and look and backtest and do all this kind of stuff, and I wasn't being given a lot of things. For instance, like he's elusive when he speaks. Sometimes he rambles on, but you don't actually know that when he's rambling like that, he's giving you these little golden nuggets of goodness. And over time, that actually conditioned me and how I trade and how I see the market, because I was just listening and listening and listening, and it kind of like unintentionally soaked in to how I view the market. Now, using his teachings, I was able to identify certain things in price that happened consistently every single day without anything happening. My very first trading account, I chucked in $1,000. I lost $300, and then I was out. And then I was like, nah, I'm not going to trade another cent until I know that I can actually like be profitable. And so I traded demo for about 2 years. Okay. During that time in demo, I spent about 6 months of it doing what we're doing right now, which is just looking at the 1 minute chart, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like this. And I was seeing where it responded to price throughout different times of the day. And looking at this kind of stuff, I identified things in the market that were very, very consistent. Okay, there's not many people out there that can actually trade Asia. It's a very rough thing, because it's the consolidation for the day in essence. What happens is that in Asia, most of the markets, that's where people are getting in and out. This time that we've alluded to right here, okay, with our Hong Kong gap busy setting up and our daily open, this is, again, what I keep on referring to as settlement price. It is where the market will target every single set, or majority of the sessions. Okay, if it doesn't fully target that, it will eventually come back and target that. So while this is panning out, let me actually just close this. Don't need that. Just get my broker chart open. Everything's on. I don't have any clear direction right now, but let's just continue with this. And so I had to keep it open so I can keep an eye on what price is doing while I explain this to you. As you can see yesterday, okay, it's very, very clear and very concise. As price breaks away from the Hong Kong gap and the opening gap, I expect that to be filled. Okay, because it is a settlement price. Okay, so settlement price is here. Then during London is away from settlement price over here. So I expect price to go back in to settlement. As we go up to New York, this is not New York, this is the decision. But as you can see right there, look how exact. I hadn't planned this out before. This was already on my charts way before. Look how perfect price comes down there to the exact price that it's in. Comes in from there and fills exactly in that Hong Kong gap that was set. Like perfect. This is not made up. It's not maybe. It's not fake. This is not a science fiction book. This is exact. This is how price reacts. It's how price works in the market. And there'll be a lot of people that kind of don't believe it, and that's okay. Like I said, there was a hater in the chat a few days ago, and he was like, "Oh, you rubbish, all that kind of stuff. You just draw arrows." I'm like, yes, I draw arrows. If you took that trade yesterday, you would have hit a decent 6R, 10R trade. And I challenged him. I said, fade my trades, and he'll lose his account. The trade the day before, again, it's just arrows, right? I'm looking at that liquidity and I'm expecting price to go there. So the trade the day before, here was my was where I took my trade over here. Okay, in that fair value gap, I had my stops under here, and I wanted price to go up to here, to a 4R. What happened was it came up, and then as soon as it came over here, it stopped me out to break even because I'm quite aggressive with my stops. And then, but if you held that trade, you could have gotten that clean profit over there. Then we have London time. We had that big break. We had that big break in price. Okay, over here, 2 o'clock, they indicated, oh, where are we going? We're going to the Hong Kong gap for that day and the opening gap. So where did price go? From that fair value gap that was created at 250 to 310, it came back into that fair value gap and then just targeted the buy side. Now, I did mention that there was a void in price over here, and guess what? It targeted that void. After doing that, it came back to, in New York, to which price? Settlement price, and continued going. The day before that, very, very clear and also quite easy to understand. You have opening, you have Hong Kong. What happens? Price pushes away during Asia, it comes back to that price. London, we have this price over here, comes and offers settlement, goes away. New York comes and offers settlement price. So this happens every day. Every single day. Same thing on GU. GU comes down. Okay, there was the two. I didn't actually mark out the Hong Kong, but it's basically over here. Okay, that's the Hong Kong gap. Now, price goes away from it, and at 310, this is the trade that I mentioned. From here, 310, it offered a fair value gap indication, and then it targeted the buy side into the previous Hong Kong gaps, which were perfect. Then New York comes in, and like I said here, it has not offered settlement. It has not offered settlement for New York. So I'm expecting GBP and AU as well to go to the buy side. Euro, I'm kind of in a little bit of an if because the markets broke on Wednesday. They were how do I put it? EU was just on a tear up while GU was on a tear down. So the interest rates were in my views, the interest rates were like separating. The market is diverging, and it has not come. What's the time? 15? Close to it. You can see what they're doing right here. If you're looking at your broker, it's busy, like the candles are busy doing this. And they're like in a super, super tight range because we're coming up to that 915. Anyway, so there's a divergence between EU and GU. Now, normally the market should be correlated in that if EU goes up, GU should go up. If EU goes down, GU should go down. The same. They should move in tandem together. When they break like that, it means that there's some form of manipulation in play. And of course, there's going to be manipulation in play because Wednesday and Thursday, what happened? Big Daddy P decided he's going to give his half yearly testimony, live testimony, which happens in June and December every year. And it makes the markets go a little bit crazy. And if you don't have your edge, you don't trade that time. That's why I was not trading New York.
Expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next? He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold enough.
Yeah, you can look at my charts. Amos, you just look at my charts. It's very, very clear. There's two times. The one time is right here. Okay. The next time is coming up. The close of 9:15 and the open of 9:16. If there is a gap between 9:15 and 9:16, you go on the open of 9:16. But I just average it out at 9:15 because it's the quarters.
Instead of searching inside for what they gave him, a strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I want to be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse.
You can see how precise. I mean, I'm not the one making the markets do this. It's just the time. Look, wick on GU, wick, body, wick, wick, body, wick, 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 body, body. Wick, 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 body, body. I'm not the one doing that. I just identified it. I'm telling you guys about it. Now, what you do with this information and stuff, again, with trading, like is your thing. We all have the responsibility for our trades. Yeah, there's equal highs on GU. The high of this.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me.
So your bias for EU this week and after CPI is what? Bearish or bullish? My bias is short. Okay. If it might make a monster move today. And that move might start in Asia. I'm expecting at least 100 pip move either today or on Monday. As in, with Euro, I'm expecting it to go from wherever we are in price right now, whether it's 9,600, wherever that is. I'm expecting it to go all the way down to 800 over here. That's what I'm expecting. But again, we see what price has to offer us, and how we get in. Because sometimes you aren't able to actually get into the move the way I trade. Like if you are like a continuation trader, yes, maybe, but the way I trade, I wait for certain things. I have to have a fair value gap or a void or a volume imbalance, because I trade from efficiencies. So I use efficiencies as targets, inefficiencies as targets, and I also use inefficiencies as a place to enter off of. Now that could also be a lapping gap. A lapping gap is not something that ICT is referred to, but it's basically the same thing as it's an inefficiency in price. And you can't see it here. There's no lapping gap here on TradingView, but on your broker, you'll be able to see the lapping gap very clearly. I'll bring up my broker chart for you to visualize what a lapping gap is. Again, I have concepts. It is ICT's concepts, except I use them slightly differently. Okay, so let's just go into price over here. You can see over here the open of that, the close of that blue candle and the open of that red candle over there. Okay, so they're right there in price, the close and the open. Now what happens is price comes down, it comes up and comes down and leaves it like a lapse over the other candle. Now if you took that as an inefficiency and you decided, oh well, I'm going to see it come back up to this inefficiency, Look at what price does. It comes straight back up to that inefficiency with a lot of force and immediately zips away from it with a lot of force. But obviously, you're not taking every single inefficiency on the markets. You have to be very, very specific of which ones you take, because they are both targets and entries. And they're dotted all throughout the charts. And so over here, that's the closing of the candle. Opening of the next candle is over here. Right there, you have a lapping gap. Now, if you were to put a line on the bottom of that lapping gap over here, okay, it's a bit dodgy. I don't actually use lines in this chart. That's why I use trading view. But if you were to put a line straight, you would see that there's a nice little square formation happening over here. And it comes from that lapping gap. There's a whole bunch of price, lapping gaps. Amazing. Okay, super, super consistent. There is a void through price. So it's a gap in price. You can see through price what happens. Price comes down, breaks, comes back to that void, continues going on. You're taken buy side. Buy side's taken. 9 o'clock. Switched to create a fair value gap on GBP and AUD. Now wait, I haven't entered anything yet. And if it completes target, sorry, target being, I just zoom out of here. If it completes the target over here without giving me this fair value gap right in there, I'm not taking a trade. GU has a nice fair value gap over here. We have price over here. And if it completes target, again, we're target's down here. If it completes that target before coming up and giving me a fair value gap, I'm not entering. Because again, we are, it's slightly, the probabilities are less because we are within the opening range. So let me just bring up the other chart. So you can see my marks remove percent. There we go. So as you can see, we're within this range. Okay, within the opening range, and 9:15 has been set now. So I can pull that up. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Close of 15, open of 16. Ooh, it's very thick. 15. Beautiful. Our Hong Kong gap is created, and it's actually a nice tight one today. Hong Kong gap. A nice little tight range over there. So all of the price before that is the manipulation into settlement. It's gone to DXY. on the 5 minutes, 15 minutes. That's why I was like, what's going on here? 15, 16. You see, so this is what I refer to. If there is a disparity in price between the closing of 15 and the opening of 16, I look at the opening of 16, okay, in time. I still call it the same thing, but that is your Hong Kong gap. Let's see. Close of 15, open of 16, that's perfect. It needs to be perfect. You know, I can tell it's not perfect because my lines aren't perfectly in line with the wicks and the bodies. As soon as you get those perfect candle, you know. You just know straight up what's happening. Okay, now we have quite a vast Hong Kong gap, which leads me to believe that we are in Asia. What I want to see is I want to see a push down, and then I want to see it pull back up into the Hong Kong gap on Euro, GBP. Let me see where your thing is. 15, close, open of 16, good. There we go. Perfect. Just I put this here so you can visualize it. I normally just have the times. I normally don't have the not 2:15, 9:15. I normally just have the times. I don't actually normally have this green thing on my chart. I just use lines. So we have created equal highs and a wick over here as a target for it to go through. So we're just waiting for price. Yeah, so I'm removing my my order on AUD. I haven't ordered it yet because again I manually enter the trades. When I see it go back into a fair value gap, depending on how the candles are, that's how I enter. Because I like to see the behavior of the candle. Every single candle has its own unique little behavior that it does. You can be watching the 1 minute on GBP is pushed away, AUD is pushed away. It's going for that sell side. Yep, that's the target. It's the sell side. Again, it didn't come up and give me fair value for it to go down, so that's okay. Again, it's a trade missed, but it is what it is. Can't be angry. When I see perfectly square liquidity like this, and I'll keep on saying this over and over again, whenever it's perfect like this, okay? Whenever you have perfect liquidity like that, what you expect is price to push away in some form. It's going to push away and come back towards it. So as you see here, it pushed away, came back towards it. Guess what? Throughout price, it pushed away from down here and came back towards that. And then pushes away and come back towards it. So now we have a nice little range. I'm actually going to pull up my 5-second chart. We're also creating another square right now on EU. You see how the candle just comes up to that wick? Perfect. See how it behaves. Watch how it behaves. And then tell me that I'm crazy. Crazy is profitable. You know? It works. Yeah, we have nice square liquidity down here. That's beautiful. So we're having a push away, and we have all of this range. That I would call my perfect liquidity for the day. Just looking at price. Yeah, it's way too perfect. So from 9543 to 9551. 9551 which is over here. 9543 which is over here. Okay, if you drag that back, you can see the wicks and stuff, they all come in perfectly. Let's just make that orange. These are your main liquidity points for the day. Okay, so if you draw this out on your chart, okay, you have your daily, you have your Hong Kong gap, and you have this over here. What you want to see is you want to see price. Again, we were watching that. The response from that 915. You see what happened? It came in, rejected, came in, went a little bit higher, rejected, came in, perfect, down. Because we have square liquidity, it pushes away, comes back towards it. So I'm waiting for 9:30 right now to show me an indication that it wants to go up. Because now we've taken buy side and we've taken sell side. We're busy offering again. So from down here to up here, you can see 50% was offered. From here to up here, you can see 50% offered. And then from here to up here, 50% was not offered. Guess what? It just got offered. So people who are going to trade long will do so very, very soon. Yeah, it's balanced. It's balanced. It's balanced. It's been balanced from this one because that's 50% right there. Come up, created. Yeah. Yeah, we need balance on DXY on the sell side, which hasn't happened, hasn't been offered. So this little piece of range here, that's been balanced. From there to up here, 50% has not been offered. Future projections. It's really unfortunate that we didn't come up and offer fair value over here. You did, actually. That little wick there, that was your fair value. But I wanted more. I wanted like in here. So I could keep a tighter stop. So how's everyone doing today? What are we up to? Thank you so much for coming in and tuning into the stream, seeing what I have to offer, my ideas, how I see the market. So what I'm noticing right now is that AU, GU are pushing down, Euro hasn't pushed down. So right now it's setting this up to push, and it's going to go. And where are we going to? Well, what is your nearest point of liquidity? You just look left. and you go, okay, here's 1 o'clock, here is 12 o'clock ish. This point of liquidity over here, these 3 points are what you're looking for. Don't you find it funny? You see that exact round number again, 9,500. Just, I mean, the reaction from these levels is undeniable. Yeah, you offered fair value now. So what they're doing here is the algorithm's engineering liquidity for the day, the whole day. Okay, we have these equal highs over here that we'll be seeing to later on. We have euro. Okay, let's set all this up. The Hong Kong gap needs to be filled. Daily needs to be filled. After opening here now, all of this price between here and here, you can think of it as a big black box. So let me make that box black. Okay, there's a big black box. This doesn't exist in price. So you can see that from there, from that point to where price is right now, we have no price. Now what we're going to have is price is going to come to the sell side and then come up back to the buy side. Finally, Euro's pushing like the rest. And we're waiting for our next candle, which will set it up. Our next time to trade, see, from that candle right there, look how it responds again to at 500 mark. Isn't that fascinating? Comes down, comes up, and then look. What might this indicate? Well, that we're at a point in time where we're probably going to see some kind of shift because it's after 9:30 and we've created at the top of the wick of the candle over here. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1 over there. That's the top of the wick. Okay, we had open right over here. We've got a tiny little wick. We have opening price and it's pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. Now what are we waiting for? We're waiting for another wick to be created. We're waiting for 10 o'clock to close, or waiting for the next hour to close, and then it's going to create an opportunity. Like, you see how that filled in beautifully? It's left a little bit of value over here. So now we're going from the previous Hong Kong gap. Oh, I don't know. If you give me fair value gap up here again, I'm not going to take that because I wouldn't be confident in trusting it. There's a void in price. This is actually a void right here. This is not just anything. It's a void. We've also got a void on the sell side. Void. Open, close, void right at the bottom. Right here. There's a void in price right there. Okay. So again, it's offering me both sides. It's not clear one directional. I wouldn't be looking at this pair. So I'm going to the next pair. So from the 16 over here, all right, as you can see, price above it and below it, the daily gap, all of that good stuff, has not been, or it actually has been offered on AU. As soon as 16 closed, it came in and was offered. Let's go look at GU. 16 opened. It hasn't given us fair value. It hasn't filled in this section over here. So go look at DXY, and DXY has taken these with a lot of force, okay, and it's going to continue. What's that? 130. We have a previous opening gap here, and a previous one here as well. Get a few more minutes to see what the price wants to do. So this is what keeps you out of taking trades. A, you're waiting for structure. B, you're waiting for, if you're taking longs, you're waiting for a fair value gap. Do we see that in any of these charts? No. There's no structure shift. There's nothing. So there's no trades. Even though we identified that because of this displacement over here, that price was going to go lower, I just wanted it to come into this fair value gap more to offer me, but it didn't. But it's life. Sometimes you get trades, sometimes you don't. And guess what? You move on. There's always another day. There's always another session. Don't ever feel like you have to be forced into taking a trade if you're uncomfortable. Because that's when you make mistakes. Fair value has been offered. Zoom out, yeah. Offer's been offered. It's been offered. Reversal indicator. It's been offered to the sell side. It's been offered to the sell side. Nah, it's going to continue going lower. But we do need to come in and fill this price in London, possibly later in Asia. So how's everyone been traveling this week? We've all been good? Monster moves to the sell side, just as we said. But unfortunately, we weren't able to get into the move because it didn't give us that opportunity. Here in euro. That's why sometimes it's just real dirty price action. Like that was just dirty. And on those days we don't trade. That's a beautiful move. Absolutely stunning. Taken let me go pull this out. We've just taken the lows over here, which is around 7.4. No, if it's going to continue, 200. What's the difference between the two? It's going to continue. It'll come down at least to the 50 here. Oh, what did I just do? Something not a lot of people are even aware of. Take some time, check into your research. Observe what I just did. It's exactly on 350. Why am I not getting comments coming through? Is everyone commenting? Because I can't see comments. Let me actually go onto YouTube and I'll find out. Oh, people are talking. Well, it's not coming through. It's not refreshing for me. So I'm here talking, thinking that no one's saying anything. Hi. Okay, I'll check this one. Live trading zone. Okay, I see you there. I see you there. You've entered. Whole bunch of stuff. Hong Kong gap. Wait, I have it lost from kind of. Yeah, I don't know why, but in my chat on this, it's kind of like been blocked out. I want you to watch something. See that line? Watch what happens. How did you find your opening gap? So Ricardo, I define it by times. So it's the closing in DXY. It's the closing. Well, today it was at 521, and then the opening price of 745. Why not try JPY pairs? More active, more range. I guess it does, but I've had really negative experiences with JPY in the past because one of the first pairs I ever traded blindly was GJ. Just like everyone who's new to trading, they always trade GJ because everyone thinks that you can. It's luck. They're lucky on GJ because there's so much happening in the wicks. It goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. People can reach break even quite easily, but when you're on the wrong side, you will get yourself ripped if you don't have a stop loss. More range, more possible profits. You're saying GBP all sleeping right now. Are they sleeping? I mean, look at the AU move over here. That was nice. If you look at GU, there's also a really nice move as well. I mean, yes, if you're considering it from the top of that leg over here, we are at 449. So let's just say 450. and down to right here, it's only moved 10 pips, but that's literally all you need. I'm only looking for a 5 to 6 pip range. I'm not looking for massive pips because I don't trade on massive time frames. Now we're at that point right there. Watch this craziness happen. The other pairs have stopped, dead in their tracks. JPY looks like a short to half level. You mean GBP JPY, the GJ? Hello, Tom Wade. Welcome back. My trading time is almost finished. So if I'm looking for a reversal, I would need to see it pan out within the next like 14 minutes. Zan, hi mate, where you from? I'm from South Africa. The way up, what do you think of GJ? I don't like it. I don't like Japanese pairs. Anything to do with Japanese pairs, I don't like. But again, that's just a personal thing, and so I just keep it off my charts. I don't really looking at too many things. I only look at things that are correlated with each other. So to me, the Japanese pair is not correlated to Euro or GBP, so there's no ways that I'll be trading it. See what happened to price at that exact level. Shocker. BD, you came through a bit late. You can always go back and watch the beginning of the stream. It's no stress, no stress. Have you failed any funded challenges? See Kenny, yes, I have actually failed a funded challenge. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but then the one after that I passed, and I was all good. Got refunded stuff, and basically it covered the failed challenge with the profits as well, so it's not a problem. Is electricity back for South Africans? I have no idea. I'm not in South Africa. I live in Australia. Do you teach trading the Asian session? I'm not necessarily a teacher. I'm just streaming right now on Trading Nuts channel, and I'm doing the Blue Guardian challenge, and I'm presenting the way that I trade. I'm not like I am kind of sharing my knowledge with you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm teaching. Well, it kind of is teaching in a way. Is ICT my granddad? Why? Because I'm quoting things like this. Yeah. No, he's not my granddad. He's American. And this is interesting. We're coming within a time now, 9:50 and 10:10, when we expect to see. So sell side's been taken on GBP, buy side's been left in place with equal highs, and in Euro, ooh, we're all the way down now. Okay, so Euro, we come, and like I said, we've taken those 3 points of liquidity, and we're expecting a move up. And look at AU from that point, exactly. DXY has actually just shown me that there's a shift in structure. So as we can see, it comes up, structure has been set and not broken. Comes up, structure's been set, not broken. Comes up over here. As soon as we have this blue candle, structure has shifted to start looking for shorts in a time that we want after taking a liquidity. So on shorts on DXY, which leads me to believe that there'll be longs on everything else. Now, I don't see in Euro, I don't see any type of fair value gap. On GBP, again, I don't see a fair value gap. On AUD, I don't see a fair value gap. So what do? Nothing. Let's go back onto the phone and look at the chat. He may have visited South Africa in the past. Yes, he may have. Like, yeah, he could have. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I don't think he's a big traveler. Sir Quest, buy. What are you buying? Because I'm not buying anything right now because price is showing me nothing. Yes, DXY has shown me a shift. There's a possible shift, but again, it hasn't given me an indication yet with a fair value gap and an efficiency in price. I want to see displacement. I want to see go whoop, and then after that, fair value gap, bang, you're in, done. I wish ICT was my uncle. I wish I could just call him up and be like, yo, what's up, boss? But no. Let's just go look at what's happening in price right there. So now we have a shift in structure on the other pairs. Let me go check the 5-tick charts and see if it's showing me the same thing. Equals, it's come back, filled it in beautifully. It's come back and there are equal lows. Right there. We have a void on EU. GBP. Wait for a candle to close. Wait for a candle to close. We'll see. So now, with my strategy, do we have enough range from this point to there? 20 pips. I would say so. Euro, we're going up. The no fair value gap. There's a fair value gap here now. Is there enough range from there to go up to here? 5-6 pips, yes. GBP, more than enough range. We have to wait for this candle to close, and then we'll see. Close in 5 seconds. And we have a fair value gap. Lovely. Beautiful, AU. You are presenting this morning. But now again, it depends on price, because this price over here is very, very square. Let me just do this. So 6 minutes. It might not come in here. It might just continue raging. Like EU is just ramping. All right. Live Train Zone. Sorry, I must have missed your question there, Live Train Zone. Sorry to bug you, but I don't think you answered my question. Why not trade AUD JPY as it's the most active? As I said, I consider the other pairs, those pairs, to be exotics. Okay, they have really high spread, and I don't necessarily like high spread. See, why are there 2 TPs on my thing? I'm gonna disable that. Off, just full target. I'll manually do it myself. $56. Remember, we need to create a wick. So we're going to need to create a wick at 10 after 10 o'clock. The next candle needs to create a wick. So I'm not trusting this right now because of the time that it is and the way the other charts are responding. The other charts look like they're pushing lower, so I can't trust that. What's this saying? Dollar rises as hawkish central banks dent risk sentiment. So if they're saying the dollar is rising and the dollar up on risk aversion, do you know what that's telling me? Yes, my dog was barking. It's a cute little dog. It's a Yorkshire Terrier. So again, I'm not taking this. Okay, I'm not taking it because of how the other charts are responding. It's not giving me confidence that that's why I don't just have one chart up. I have all 3, and they have to have correlation. Because 10 o'clock is going to come in, 10 o'clock, and what you'll have is this would have created a wick. The next candle will either come down, snap these lows over here, and then create the sell side wick, then go to the buy side. But buy side does need to be seen from this time, which is how it does it. Because GBP is pushing, GU is pushing lower, EU is resisting. So GU just snapped the lows, whereas AU it's holding on here. It's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's giving people, I think, false hope. Because here we go, GBP, you can see here, there's a fair value gap, but it's come down and we have liquidity on the sell side. So we're looking at time, again, 59 right now. And on Euro, we have this massive move down to scare these people out of the trade, but I'm expecting it to at least go below here. AU, how are we responding? AU's resisting. Like I said, I wish ICT was my uncle. I wish. Because I could just hit him up in the call and be like, yo. Give me some of your good old guidance. But yeah, so according to my rules, my strategy has not presented in this time. So I sit out and I do nothing. But interesting how I called this line out. Okay. And then what happened? Price reacted straight off it. And we were all the way up here. And I was like, watch here. Funny. Okay. Now, again, my strategy has not activated. It has the time and the criteria and stuff has not been met. So I can't take a trade. I'm outside of my trade zone, my trade time. My next time would be in London. Would be between a 250 and 310. I'll be looking for what's happening then. So if you're on the charts, again, all you're looking for is if price is below your opening gap, you're trying, it's a target. Price has to settle here. Okay. If it does switch around right here on G and EU, this has been a nice little snap. Let's see what happens. That void came in, tapped it. This is it's turning around now. Unfortunately, no, I'm not confident. Not today. I do know that price does need to have buy side and does need to go up. Okay, but again, full transparency, I'm not in trades now. I just know that price needs to go here. Again, we've come off of into this Hong Kong gap. We're in a couple of Hong Kong gaps over there. GBP, again, it needs to go up and it needs to offer fair value of that leg. So if you go into if you go here, like I said, it's going to take liquidity, which it just did, and then it's going to do something. Now, this whole leg over here on GBP has not been offered fair value. So fair value would be this right there. And then full over there. So I'd be waiting. I'll just wait it out. Again, don't ever feel forced to take trades. You should not be forced to take a trade. If you see someone doing something and you feel uncomfortable, don't take a trade. You know what I'm saying? It's like your analysis should come from you as a person. You should know what you're doing. You should be confident in your strategy because you have back tested it. You have forward tested it. You know your risk parameters, as in your risk management. Not just risk management, but the parameters of your own mental capacity in dealing with situations, such as I'm at a 1% loss. How do I deal with it? Or the trade's not going my way. Should I pull out? Should I not pull out? Whatever it is, you need to understand yourself. Trading will pull the best and worst out of people. Okay, and you knowing yourself is important. All right, so again, I'm not taking the trade just because everything else was showing me that it's going lower. You can see over here, it's just dropped. So over here, it's just dropped. Again, the correlation in the markets is there. See, it's dropping. That's why we don't take trades. Okay, now again, it hasn't happened in my time. So again, keep safe in the markets. Have these things on your chart and just observe it throughout the day. See what London has to offer. As I said, I am primarily biased to the sell side, and I'm expecting big moves to the sell side. To here, fair value, all the goodies, and that's it. So we have DXY is pushing up. Where's it going to? You know exactly where it's going to. It's going right here. From there, from that point, then you might expect something to happen because it hasn't happened in my time frame. You'd expect something. What I'm expecting is it's going to go up here and it's going to consolidate until London, because it's a common characteristic. Or it has pushed out of Asia and will continue to go. Now, it's very interesting because on days like today, what you can have is, because they are, I consider them big range days that are going to be played out. What will happen is people who are reversal traders like me, what we do is we try and see if we can catch a reversal in the market, okay, using specific times and points. And what happens is a lot of people will be like, oh, it's taking liquidity over here, and then I'm just going to blindly enter because for luck. Don't do that. You have to wait. You have to correlate the market. You have to make sure that everything goes according to your plan. So for me, I have my times, the way I trade, how I trade, and that's why, like right now, you see everything is ripping. That was identified, but because of the way that the other markets were presenting over here, there's a lot of liquidity on the sell side. It's pushing lower. There's no ways that I am going to take a long trade. Okay, there's absolutely no ways. So again, full transparency, it didn't pan out. Now this could have been a snap out now to continue going up, but again, it's not within my time. And if you do enter the trades like that, what will then happen is you'll take a trade like this, for example, and then you'll get price will come back and stop you. Then you're like, okay, then I'll just create another one, and then guess what? It'll stop you again and stop you and stop you. Days like this will continue to keep on snapping you out. And identifying them early is important, just like how you identify consolidation. We're right here in this gap. Anyways, that's me done for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Next time, I hope the software doesn't get glitchy. And thank you so much for all your comments. If you haven't liked the video already, then please do so. And you can find me at the only Gentsla on Twitter, of handle at the only Gentsla. Okay, have a lovely day, and thank you so much for coming in and joining me. And I'll see you next week, Tuesday, when I come back. Well, for me, it's Tuesday. For other people, it'll be Monday, depending where you are in the world. But I'll be on the charts at the same time, like today, on Tuesday to Friday. Okay, thank you so much. Cheers, everyone. Bye.